Alright, off we go. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio. Good to have everyone in. I'm Ryan Hartson, obviously. I have 8 million things to do this week, so obviously we're not going to be able to do any JMFPSPs this weekend. Last weekend we accomplished absolutely nothing because pretty much nothing happened. And if you were literally waiting for us to do reports on important sports topics and weren't going to actual sports organizations to get your news, you're a tool. Like, we're only going to make comments when we need to make comments or when we actually have time. And obviously that's the case with absolutely no one. Everyone goes to other sports sites for their sports information. You're not going to waste any of your time coming here. You're probably not going to come here in the first place. I'm lucky if I get anybody at all. So, but that said, it's good to have you here. And I want to start. We did our baseball preview last few weeks ago now. Me and Tim did it, and we went through all the baseball teams, and I got our picks here, actually. If you go through them, I'll just stay in the American League, and I want to make fun of Tim, and I'm going to make fun of me as well, because these picks were that bad. Start in the American League. The National League really wasn't that bad, and no one really cares about the National League because it's an inferior league to the American League, where you've got at least way more names that you know in the American League than the National League. So we'll just leave the National League alone. I just want to focus on two teams, really. I want to focus on the Rays, who are 0-6. They're terrible. They're a joke, and I knew they'd be both of those things. Because the Rays lost Carl Crawford, they lost Matt Garza, they lost somebody to the Cubs as well. Carlos Pena, they lost to the Cubs. You know, the Rays they lose all this talent, and they're just an absolute joke. And I knew that they had no talent. Seriously, the only players I can probably name, if I go at it, David Price for sure, and then Evan Longoria. I'll go look at that right now, actually. Let me look. Sortable team stats. By the way, the Rays in almost every statistical category are last. They're only hitting 145 as a team. Yeah, that's how bad it is. They're 0-6. Their lineup. Oh, B.J. Upton. That's a name I know. Okay, so B.J. Upton's one name I know. Johnny Damon, obviously. Manny Ramirez, by the way, retired. No one cares about that. He's done, and he's not very good anyway. He was for a long time, obviously. He's a Hall of Famer. He won't be because he's juicing, and people take steroids way too seriously, but he is a Hall of Fame caliber player. I don't think that's arguable. Anyway, yeah, the Rays are terrible. They are absolutely horrible. They're 0-6, not counting Manny and Johnny Damon, who really don't count. Evan Longoria, and then David Price are really the only names I know on this roster. So, I mean, with that kind of lack of talent that they have, or at least, let's not say lack of talent, let's say lack of name recognition. There are not a lot of teams, or not a lot of names that I recognize on that roster. And it seems like the teams that have all the players that you know, especially in baseball, those are the ones that win. The Yankees, the Red Sox, who we'll get to, aren't winning. The Angels have a lot of players that you know, and they win most of the time. Didn't win last year. I don't know how they're doing this year. But, you know, the teams that have the big-time players are obviously, if you have the most talent, you're going to win. And the Rays just don't have the talent. They don't have the talent. They don't have the guys. So I knew they were going to be bad, and Tim picked them to be the wild card because he's a Rays homer. Let's face it. He's a Rays homer, but the Rays just don't have it together, and I think they're going to be terrible. Personally, I thought they were going to be terrible before the season started. I still think they're going to be bad now. They're probably going to be worse than advertised. They were advertised as a 90-win team, and I think absolutely not. I think they're going to be lucky to win 80 games at this point. They're 0-6, and I think they're going to be bad all year. The Rays are going to go back to irrelevancy this season. They're going to be terrible. So now I'm done making fun of Tim. Tim picked them to be the wild card, and that's awful. Awful. Oh my god, that's absolutely brutal. Pick the Rays to be the wild card. I picked the Yankees, and that's going to be wrong as well, actually, because the Yankees are going to win the division. Moving on. the Red Sox, who play the Yankees at Fenway this weekend, 3-game set, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the weekend if you didn't know. Anyway, the Red Sox are 0-6 as well, and they are absolutely terrible. The Red Sox are, I'm not going to call them a joke, but pound for pound, player for player, through the rotation and through the lineup, this is the deepest and most talented team in the league. When you got Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, Kevin Youkilis, I'm just going down the list. I mean, just a remarkable amount of talent. And Carl Crawford's only hitting 174. Adrian Gonzalez off to a decent start. Has a homer, hits 304, and now he's in that bandbox that's Fenway. Ortiz, actually, Big Poppy's not doing too bad, hitting 227, not awful. Pedroia's off to a slow start, hitting 227. Youkilis is, wait, is that right? Yes. Youkilis is only hitting 105. I mean, they're just not hitting. And what is it? It's pressure. It's not my fault because no one heard me say this, or at least 7 people heard me say this. I picked the Red Sox to win 110 games. I said, I was sitting right here in the exact same chair. It was a little more of a cheerful day outside, and Tim was sitting next to me. And I said, Tim, the Red Sox are going to be the most dominant team in baseball in the last 10 years. And then they go out and make me look bad, and go out and they start 0-6. Anybody want to help me with that? Like, how does that happen? It's pressure. There's so much bearing down on them. There's your sure thing to win the division. You know, the Yankees are, 5-6 games worse than you at least. Okay, you got Carl Crawford and Adrian Gonzalez, these sexy names that are coming from small markets to play for you. You still got Big Poppy and Pedroia and Youkilis. And your rotation with Beckett, who has to be better than he was last year. By the way, I watched Josh Beckett when he played for our local minor league team here, the Kane County Cougars. I watched Josh Beckett throw a no-hitter on the 4th of July. It was the coolest thing ever. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Josh Beckett. And I always love to see him do well. Like, back then, my dad was like, yeah, I hope he does well in the big leagues. And he goes on to be the most dominant postseason pitcher, one of the most dominant postseason pitchers we've seen, especially in that great 07 run that he had. And then John Lester is another one. I mean, they got this great rotation set up, a great lineup, and they're just not hitting. I'll just go down the list. I'm not even going to mention player names. Just go down the list of their batting averages. 167, 174, 304, 227, 227, 105, 176, 70. Who the hell is that? He's only hitting 071. What's his name? Jared Saltalamacchia. Who is that? Comment. If you have a story about who Jared Saltalamacchia is, let me know, because I've never heard that name before in my life. Apparently he's a catcher. Is he the starting? Yeah, I guess he's one of only 2 catchers on the roster. I guess he's the catcher for the Red Sox. That's good to know. 071. God, that's a terrible start. See, he has 1 hit this year. 1 RBI, though. Not bad. Yeah, it's awful. 231, 143. So, like, you're batting, you're not hitting at all. You're not scoring runs. They're second to last in the league in offense. Second to last behind the Rays, or just in front of the Rays. Second to last in the league in offense. They're terrible. This team, I mean, it's brutal to go. I mean, like, listen, there are a million games in baseball, and I'm one of the loudest voices saying that baseball is too damn long and it's too slow. But you're going to, out of the gate, 0-6. Like, you might lose 6 games in a row in July. This is the first week. You want to make a statement saying, hey, we're here in April and we're going to be here in September, and you're 0-6. And there's some history with going 0-6 that we've been hearing about. Now, first off, if you 0-4, you can't win the World Series. No one's done it. To go 0-4 and win the World Series, it can't happen. You've been mathematically eliminated, which is crazy. It's just a weird stat. 0-6, only 2 teams, or I think it's 1 team, has won 90 games even. And this is a team I thought was going to win 110. I said they're going to be the most dominant team in baseball in the last 10 years, and they're just not. They're not hitting, they're not pitching, and now they're playing the Yankees. The Yankees with Jeter and A-Rod and Teixeira and whatever. The Yankees is my point. So the Red Sox are in trouble. They're in big trouble at 0-6. And are they going to get to 90 wins? I would still think so. I would think that eventually you got to, snap out of it. You spent all this money, you got all this talent, and you're not the Cubs. You're not cursed like the Cubs are. So you should be able to get it done, you would think. But this is very strange. I've never seen this happen in baseball. Happens in football all the time. Dallas Cowboys and Green Bay Packers are your two biggest examples. Packers went on to win the Super Bowl. That's irrelevant. Packers were picked. They were the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They started off. Cowboys started off 1-4, 1-5. Eventually, their head coach got fired, and they moved on. It happens in the NFL all the time. But baseball, there's no talent at the bottom of baseball to come up and compete with the top anyway. So, you would think that if you're at the top of baseball, you're just going to kill everybody, because there's no parity in baseball. But apparently there's a little bit. There's a little bit of parity in baseball this year, and that's good. Can the Red Sox turn it around? I have no idea. By the way, parity isn't good. I'm lying. Parity is awful. The dominant teams need to be dominant. That's what gets ratings. That's what sells tickets. The ratings are considerably higher. Final Four, the ratings are out for the Final Four. Carolina, Kentucky, the ratings in that were significantly higher than Butler VCU. And we all say we like the little guy. That's a load of crap. You like watching the dominant teams. It reflects in the ratings. So having the Rays and the Orioles in the ALCS is not a good thing. The Red Sox and the Yankees need to be in the ALCS. The Angels need to be in the ALCS. The dominant teams that are historically great, not necessarily the big markets, historically great, those are the teams that need to be great now. That's what sells tickets. That's what wins games. And the Red Sox not being good right now is a problem for the league. When the Boston Red Sox aren't successful, no one cares. Obviously with the Yankees, people will still care. But, it's less interesting when the Red Sox aren't good. So this is a problem for the sport, financially, that the Red Sox are terrible. And they need to turn it around and they need to get better. And I think they're going to turn it around. It's 0-6. You got, what's 162 minus 6? 61, 60, 59, 58, 57. 156 games left, dude. You got 156 games left. Let's go. Let's start winning some games. And hopefully the Red Sox will turn it around. They're probably not going to win 110. But I would hope that they get better and that they get this done. So, Red Sox stink right now. We were completely wrong, and Tim picked the Rays as the wild card. He's an idiot. So enough of that. Let's move on to the NFL draft. I have a question for everyone. I'm just going to throw this out there. See if you agree with me or not. Why is Cam Newton going to be taken number 1 by the Panthers? We'll talk about it next. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio.